Um, had a bit of a, I guess, depressing one today, so I'm sorry in advance for killing the vibe. Um, I'm in the woods today. Uh, haven't been here in a while. It's been 364 days since my dog passed. Tomorrow marks a year. It's been 344 days since the last walk I took her on in the woods I'm in. And it's really weird. Today I just wanted to talk about persistence. My dog was a big Newfoundland. There's a few photos cover my face. She was a big, soft Newfoundland. Her name was Jess. She was born in 2014 when we adopted her, and she was the biggest, cuddliest thing ever. She was a beacon of support. She always knew what was going on somehow in her tiny dog brain. And she was always there, you know? And it feels quite weird because when I talk about it, a lot of people will say, oh, you know, it's just a dog. And I can agree to that extent, but to me, she meant so much. She was my reason for a lot of things, especially when I was in quite a few hard times. She was the thing for me that kept me going. And she's gone. And it was right after I'd finished college, A-levels done, I was free for 2 days. I finished on the 15th, and on the 16th, which would be today, last year, she fell. I was sitting next to her. I don't know what she did, but she hurt her leg. And we called the vets the next day, and we knew what was going to happen, but I guess you sort of hold a slither of hope. And ironically, when the vets got there, it was even worse than we'd thought. Not only should she hurt her leg, she'd also, as big dogs get, she had very poor bones, and they think she might have had some kind of cancer on her leg, which was horrible, meaning that basically our decision was absolute. It would be a disservice to the soul that I enjoyed being around every day to force her to stay alive for my own satisfaction, or for our satisfaction. And in a sense, there was peace in it somehow. When she passed, it wasn't in pain. They put a injection into her so she wouldn't feel any pain, and suddenly all the quiet discomforts that she'd had, all of the small pains, the limp that she'd walked around in such great agony for the past day, she didn't have anymore. She had the injection before she passed, and she was happy. She didn't limp anymore. Laying down didn't look like a pain for her. She just laid down and chilled, and then breathed her last, which I'm thankful for in a way. I don't think I'd have it any other way, personally, because I'm so glad that she got to go in peace with all of us there. And obviously that is something that took quite a heavy toll. Even just being in the woods, which again I haven't come back to since in the time that it's been, it's weird just thinking about all the places I used to go, the way we'd walk all around here. It's kind of depressing, but it's nice. The woods, it's almost not frozen in time, kind of the opposite. The area has become quite oppressive. Something that used to be a very big public footpath has now become oppressive and desolate, as if as soon as the dog went, its usefulness had just disappeared along with it, which is weird. But I think that it's a sign, it's change. It shows that just because something happens, nothing else will stop. Everything keeps going. And, you know, I keep going because that's all you can really do. And tomorrow, it will be another day. I'll think about her, the time that we had, and that's okay. And it's still obviously a touchy subject, but it's nice being able to talk about her and the things she did for me, and how kind she was, and the memories I have, even just sitting at this bench, the amount of times that I would sit here and the dog would sit here and look expectantly as if I had a million treats in my pockets. But just because she's gone doesn't mean she's gone. There are signs on the world that show that she's still here. I think my mum mentioned it to me first, but I consider butterflies, white butterflies, to be it's kind of weird. I'm not religious really, but when I'm in hard times, I think about the dog, and I sort of see white butterflies as being the dog. And it's weird because I never noticed them before. Maybe they just weren't around, but as soon as the dog went and I started considering that, I see them everywhere in my hardest times, and I just think, hey Bear, you know, it's like, it's nice to see her again, because seeing the butterfly, it reminds you of what you had and all the good times that we had, all the walks that we had, and everything good. But that just means that you must persist. She's not entirely gone. So, in a sense, I never really lost her. But it'll always be a bit of a touchy subject, I suppose. But that's okay, because it's times like these where I get to remember what I had and how lucky I was. So yeah, that was about it. Bye, Bear.